welcome. Sorry for the 7-minute delay. Yes, come on in. All right. Boy, do I have a day for you guys. Woo! Okay. Woosa. Okay. At the beginning of this show, just like the rest of my 3 shows today, or 2 shows today, the first 15 minutes, I will hit on the 3 things that I'm actually going to be talking about in the 3 separate episodes today. So this way, if you catch one of the shows today, you at least catch a little blurb of the 3 things. Okay. So first of all, Musco Police Department, yesterday, as I left off, right here, Payne writes up a report that he is August 7th, okay, that he emailed, see that says PR, well, that's Penny. Got it, figured it out. That's our girl Penny, Pullman Police Department, okay? Pullman Police Department just released their dump of information, all right? And in it, it was Ann Taylor was requesting the spreadsheet from quote unquote copy of Love's spreadsheet. Now let me explain who Love is really quick. Love's, that's part of his name. So it's Officer St. Andre Love, St. Andre, whatever. He was an officer that was part of Brent Kopaka's SWAT situation. He actually had a body cam on, but every time that he interacted with Brent Kopaka, he for some reason didn't have his camera on. Okay. One of the reasons was he said, I made it a pull camera, so therefore I could only see it on my phone and it didn't record, and they used it to be able to like see in Brent's room. The other time was when he actually had interaction with Brent face to face. So when you guys see like this copy of Love spreadsheet, that is a police officer's name. Okay. St. Andre. ST.ANDRE. So like Andre 1000. Isn't that a name out there in the rap world? Anyways, so this right here, look at the date. He writes it up on 8/22/2024. He says on August 7th, I emailed Penny. Defense request for discovery, Love. Hello, Penny. He doesn't give the name Penny. I filled Penny in. See the P? P? You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Okay, so Penny. Hello, Penny. I was given your information in order to request the following documentation for Mr. Kohberger, or the Kohberger case, rather. The following information was requested by defense counsel. Request number 317. All reports, video, photographs, notes, and communications from Pullman Police Department regarding their involvement in this case, including but not limited to all records from Sergeant Chris Engel. I want that Engel shit. We'll get to that. Next. Request 346. Copy of Love spreadsheet as referenced in Sergeant Engel's email to Pullman PD officers. Okay. See? Brett Payne, hit me up. Right here. They also wanted an MI search for Kohberger. 0 results. I went, though, to zoom in on when this was. They actually did this request, or when this email was sent out. If you look at the dates, they did these in February, March, June of 2023. So take a look, see? Take a look, see? Kelly Smith, she's awesome. Give a shout out to Kelly Smith. I love her. Okay? She is legit. She handles all of the public requests. Seriously. Her, the Whitman County Sheriff's Office, that chick over there, all the women that handle the public requests, I'm telling you, if there's ever a time that you want to buy somebody lunch or pay it forward, those people are awesome. Like, we have a great relationship with them, and I cannot say enough amazing things about those individuals that have handled all of the public requests. Like the Moscow girl, tits, bee's knees. Okay. Look at how thorough. They're like, we're showing you that when you look this up and you type this in, you're not going to find his name. And look at when they did this, 2/16/2023. Because people were asking about it. So the report searches and returns messages sent by users of mobile. Okay. So thorough. Then we get to this interaction here. Let me back out a little bit. Penny, confirm that all email communications with Kohberger in the message have already been included. Again, August 19th, 2024. The only work remaining is from Sergeant Engel, ? Since he already provided Moscow Police Department with lots of video. Okay. He just needs to document that he already gave that to MPD. I'm going to show you something now. See stuff like this. ENS Services, 1300 Johnson Ave. This disclosure contains 2 dates of surveillance, each with 125 entries. Then you have Floyd's. So I was going through to see everything that has to do with Pullman in terms of surveillance. But then I came across Danny Vargas's report again when she said I was supposed to go and look through all of the material. And I was stopped in my track by the FBI who said, we already went through that. There's nothing pertinent there. Okay? Bullshit. Next. Hi, Brent. Sorry for not communicating with you. Here is what I have received from Officer St. Andre. Love, baby, love. See? St. Andre. I didn't receive anything from Chris yet. But I know he will be in the office tomorrow. And Kelly Smith, again, give props to Kelly Smith at 1400 today. So I'm checking with her to see if Chris emailed her anything. Again, this is just all the back and forth. Do you see how love saying it? Like, so if you guys are listening, this is who it is. And he said, see attached. And I was like, oh, yes. You attach something, okay? And what he attached is he also had some comments before we get to that. He says right here, is my spreadsheet referencing the blank one I made or the one I personally filled out? Okay. Please gather all that you have and send it to me. Kelly is on vacation this week, so I am not waiting, says Penny. And then he's like, all right, send it on over, you know. And here we go. And it's 2 pages. The first one looks like this. Okay. And then the second one is blank like this. And it's not in landscape, it's in portrait. Okay. So we're going to back up right here. And notice immediately 11/25/2022. You can make whatever date you want on a piece of paper. You can change it. You can do whatever the heck you want. The words, there's going to be metadata behind it, is you can actually see when a document really truly was created. I don't care what you put is a date here. That doesn't mean shit. Okay. Anybody that's worth a damn in digital forensics will tell you that. Like, I don't care what you put on a piece of paper or when you're typing something up, whatever date you put, that doesn't mean that that's the date. But nonetheless, he put 11/25/2022 right there. Everybody should be like, holy shit, wait a second. Holy shit, wait a second. Now, according to Gary Jenkins on his horror tour, okay, he said both. He said both in that book with James Patterson as well as on his horror tour media tour. He said that, first of all, that he was called into Officer Payne's / the Pullman Police Department. I mean, the Moscow Police Department. It was a big meeting after they got the name Bryan Kohberger on December 19th. So he thought it was either December 19th or December 20th that, you know, he gets called in and he shows up down at the Moscow Police Department. Before that, he said that the Bolo was distributed on 11/28/2022, 11/28/2022, and that it was within, hours that they found Bryan Kohberger's car, which in the PCA shows that they found 2 officers queried it, and they found what would be Curtis Whitman and Daniel Tanego. Back to back, one was at 12:28, and then it was at 12:53, something like that, which was technically 12:29 then, because it had just crossed over to midnight. Well, here we have, so think about this. Brent is acting like he has no idea what Love's spreadsheet's all about. Okay. Well, Love's spreadsheet is all about the fact that why would Love be looking for and documenting Elantras, any type of color, mind you. So, okay. See the color? He said, this is what's on the plate, as far as what state, the plate number, color of the vehicle, and then the address or general location, if not at a specific address, if the car was being, if it was driving. And there's one, so yeah, this was 11/25. Okay. In his probable cause affidavit, he says that he put his Bolo out on 11/25. The internal Bolo went out on 11/25. I now question all of that because we have Jenkins saying that the Bolo came out on 11/28. We have Brett Payne saying that the Bolo went out on 11/25. And if you go then look at this report, what Ann Taylor wanted to know. She wanted to know Payne's instant messaging, communications, radio traffic. Okay. For look at what dates. See that right there? 3/17. Communications reports for all instant messages of Corporal Payne with dispatch. See, that's how that says 3/17. Okay, now I want to show you something. See that? See how it says 3/17 like that? Okay, you ready? Are you guys ready for this? That's how he wrote up his report. This is Ann Taylor's. This is copy, cut, and pasted what it seems like. 3/17. What does it say? Communications reports for all instant messages of Corporal Payne with dispatch and all other users for 11/28, 12/16, 12/20. See that says 3/17? 3/17. All reports, videos, photographs, notes, and communications from Pullman Police Department regarding their involvement in this case, including but not limited to all records from Sergeant Chris Engel. Wait, what? 3/17. Like, Lana, come on. Are you playing jokes with me? No. I'm not playing jokes with you. Do you see how this is in this type of a font? Hello, Penny. See this type of font? Okay. Do you see this type of font? See how it's a different font? Like that and that. Do you see afterwards? Like, could you help me? So this looks like it's copy, cut, and pasted, right? From what Ann Taylor would have sent over or however Payne received it, right? Now look at when he writes his report up. Okay, with what Ann Taylor is saying, it's for her to get Pullman Police Department involvement. Now, what Payne is saying it is for in his report, he's saying that what 3/17 is all about is communications report for all instant messages of Corporal Payne. That's not what 3/17 is. 3/17 is to get Love's instant message. To get photographs, notes, communicate everything with Pullman. Okay, 3/17 is right there, black and white. All right, since you are just copy, cut, and pasting, all right, why when you would write your report, would you not just copy, cut, and paste? That way it's accurate, right? Instead, he's saying that 3/17, that this is what Ann's asking for, and that's not what Ann's asking for on 3/17. When I say 317, that's the request number. Every time when she's putting in a new supplemental discovery request, each item, because it's just easy to reference then, she'll say, like the first discovery request would be a supplemental, number 1, Bryan Kohberger's body cam of being arrested, let's just say. Number 2, it's like that's always going to be what number 1 is. Like number 2, whatever is number 2 is always going to be what number 2 is. And you're going to go on, so forth, okay? All the way down to, I think Ann Taylor got up to almost in the 500s, all right? So here, Payne, I don't know where he is copy, cut, and pasting this from, but this, if that is what Ann Taylor asked for, awesome. His report is inaccurate. He sucks. He sucks. That's not what 317 is asking for, okay? And then he's saying that 318, communications report for all instant messages of Moscow police with dispatch on all the other dates, okay? Now, they're beyond fucked. Now, last night I went through this daddy, okay? This poppin' shit. And back when the public, found out about be on the look for a white Elantra, okay? 12/7. That's when the public was told. I have a little friend in Moscow, Idaho, who immediately when this happened, I said, what are you doing? When are you free for about an hour? I'm free right now. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Ready? I need you to, I'm going to be on the phone with you. And I need us to be on like the video call. Okay. And I'm going to tell you to go to these apartments over in Moscow. She is in Moscow. I was like, I need you to go to these apartments, to a couple of these apartments. And I want you to canvass the parking lot. I want you to video record every single car in each of these parking lots. Okay. Can you do that? Yeah, sure. So these were all time-stamped. Like you can't, like the metadata is behind it when we did this. And so then boom, I have all of these listed off on Elantras and specifically looking for white ones. But if it was a silver one, took it on. Come across one that was off of a White Ave apartment. And it was parked very close to a deputy SUV from the Latah County Sheriff's Department. Okay. You guys know, like the police, like cruisers. And I zoomed in and I noticed on the back of this vehicle, it had a Boise Bronco sticker. And I was like, that's interesting. Lo and behold, all this time would pass by and they were talking about white Elantras all over. And Ann Taylor's clearly got to be hunting them down. And she says in this request that she waits, allegedly, now I don't know when this 317 was sent out as far as, but this is when Payne is going to say, okay, hey, we're going to put it out to Pullman. Hey, can we get this? And so only Ann Taylor knows what number 317 fell in her discovery requests with the supplementals. But Payne waits a month before the discovery is due on the 2024. And again, he acts like he has no idea what this love spreadsheet is all about. The spreadsheet comes back. Ann Taylor would have then had it. And lo and behold, this car that is listed. So first of all, this is Bryan Kohberger's right there. CF, that's his Washington plate. That's the new plate. And it's listed there at the address. But down here, there is one that has a VIN number instead of a plate number. And in the address or general location, it says 375 Northeast Terra View parking lot. No front or rear plate. Paperwork viewable in rear window. said that it was purchased on 11/16/2022 in Denver, Colorado. Well, and then he says that the car is gold. Motherfucking gold. Okay? Gold. Now, I put in all the stuff that I did. It's all documented on the dates when I've ever would put something in, be looking up something. So again, there's a timestamp behind it. When this finally gets available, I pump in this VIN number. In my account says one matching report. And I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean there's a matching report to this car? This car matched the canvas that I did in Moscow, Idaho in December of 2022. This car, though, was found on 11/25, supposedly gold, no front or back plate, and in a parking lot in Pullman, Washington, right by, very close to the Step 2 Apartments. And here, Love is saying it's a gold. It's never been gold ever. This is a 2015, same identical make and model of Bryan Kohberger's. It was not purchased on 11/16/2022 in Denver, Colorado. This vehicle has made its way and was actually bought out of Troy, Idaho. Okay. And it is, if you guys have seen my community page, I posted the picture of the car. And in Idaho, what you can do is your license plates, when you get them, you can just take them off and put them on another car, and that's just how it goes. So your plates can actually ring back to, like, it just keeps, moving with your car. And so I'm going to print this off, but I about died because I'm like, okay, why would this car on 11/25 be in an apartment complex by itself, no front, no backlight, no plates, and then supposedly papers in the window, and then it's saying that it was just purchased on what papers would be in the window to tell you when you purchase, if it wasn't like a you get temporary tags and they could say like the purchase date. But what do you mean papers in the window and saying I've never bought a car that says where I bought it from. Like, none of that made any sense. Also, I think you could tell what a gold car would look like and what a white car would look like. And so I'll print it off. But that was now listen to this. Back when I did this in December of 2022, and then I continued to do it in January, this was the only car that when I was doing my research, this was the only plate, because at the time when I got the picture, what I did, it was, here, I'm going to print this. That plate wouldn't go back to anywhere. It was like it didn't exist. But it clearly did. It's on a car, and it's a Latah County plate because it has a number and then L, which is what they do. And if it was like a number and then a B, that's like Bonner County. But Latah is a number and then an L. There you go. And so I just zoomed in. Okay. This is black and white, but you guys get the picture. I have the video up. It's in one of my threads back there. But you see this Boise Broncos shit right there? See that? This vehicle is the Love vehicle. This vehicle, this VIN, is that vehicle that I found in December. And it was in a Moscow, Idaho apartment complex when I found it. But when Love found it on 11/25, supposedly, he found it in a parking lot at an apartment complex. Okay, now ready for this? This is going to be so wild for you guys to understand. So I was just curious to find out who all lived at that apartment complex. Like 375 Northeast Terrace. Where is that even at on the map? It's right over there by Steptoe. But more importantly, it's not gold, okay? And it was never purchased new on 11/16/2022 that we could find, okay? This is a white as hell, the same vehicle that Bryan Kohberger has. Like, I mean, it's white. There's no, this could be, it is white, okay? It is absolutely white. And this is what Ann Taylor wanted. She wanted this spreadsheet. And this shows a date of 11/25 when he supposedly made it, but the metadata you would need behind it to see actually when this document was put up or made rather. And so I went and checked. Is there any way we can find out who the heck was living in those apartments back then? I shit you guys not. There's a woman that runs the disclaimer. Do I think this is her car? No. Okay. But I was like, you just can't make this shit up, man. You just can't make this shit up. Going through all of this shit, I come across a woman by the name of Rebecca who worked and still works at Washington State University. And she is none other than a criminal justice advisor. Rebecca and this person are available to help undergraduate students majoring or planning to major in criminal justice and criminology. Students are encouraged to come for advising as soon as they know they want to major in criminal justice and criminology. She's been kicking it at those apartments for a long time, this girl. Again, do I think that that's her vehicle? Absolutely not. I mean, who knows? Maybe. But what I'm saying is what I'm coming across, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. She works at 104B Wilson Short for advising. Look it up. There's a big old article about it, about her and her advising. Again, she's in room 104B Wilson Short, and she became a criminal justice advisor in going into 2022. Okay. So this is just giving some more credence over there to whatever her Ashley's TikTok lawsuit. Anyways, just so you guys know, Wilson Short is the same office where Bryan was at. And again, I want to just make sure that I'm clear about this. That girl just lives there. Do I think that this is her car? No. But could she potentially know the person? Could this car owner potentially know that woman? And maybe that's why it was there. I don't know. There's, I think we narrowed it down to 55 times 5. It was like 90 units at this place. But regardless, I call bullshit on this vehicle being gold ever. I call bullshit on Payne not knowing about this vehicle. And why would you ever be searching for a car that you're supposed to not know about? And if Payne in his PCA put in 11/25 in the PCA, I think that's even more telling that he would have known about the spreadsheet. It's like, who gave Andre 3000 the how was he told to go about to start looking for cars if it wasn't from this big flyer or this big department wide he put this out? Was there where's the communication with the FBI? And then Chris Engel, again, Ann Taylor wanted everything to do with him because I think he was the one that was barking out the orders, but it would all be on the dates of when communications were had between Chris and whoever he was talking to. That's why she wanted all of his emails, because Chris, I think, was in charge of them, like Andre 3000. Next to prove the point is Gary. Good old Gary Jenkins. Gare Bear. Come on down, Gare Bear. Okay. Take a look at this. This is calling out. Gary Jenkins, I am calling you out. And here's my proof. All right. Gary Jenkins, right here. From Gary, December 27, 2022 at 2:22. To Jake. So Gary, he left Pullman Police Department. He was the chief there at Pullman. He retires. Then WSU brings back Jenkins due to some issues. So Jenkins becomes involved then back with WSU. And after Jenkins left, Jake took over for Jenkins. So Jenkins writes now the new chief of police, Jake, who, by the way, he's out. And this is what Jenkins writes. Jake, when you get a chance, can you look to see if I left a hanging folder file in the bottom right drawer of the desk from my interviews of the WSU CJ Fellowship Program candidates? One of the candidates was Christina. The reason he says it like that is because he hired Christina. Christina was his pick out of the 4. Okay, there was 4 people that applied. He knows Christina's name. He hired Christina. Okay, and that's why he says one of the candidates was Christina. Duh. And I don't remember who the other ones were. Thanks, Gary. Fuck your whore toward Gary. You blast this shit. I don't know why MSM doesn't call these people out, man. Like, the day that I would ever interview somebody and they came on my platform and lied is the day I light them up. Like, up. I'm going to pull up what Gare Bear said over here with Gary Jenkins. WSU Idaho4 Core Tour. There we go. Brian Etten, 2 weeks ago.
Going to be making his way out to Pullman for his PhD program. One thing that I was looking for in particular was someone who can develop a sense of trust and rapport with my staff. That's a very important quality in order to be a researcher embedded in a police department.
Okay. Now, I call out bullshit on that. Gary Jenkins was asking people what questions he should ask of these interns. Okay. There's emails of it that Pullman released. And here's Gary saying things like, hey, what questions do you want me to ask the candidates? Blah, blah, blah. Are these good questions to ask? So he's writing the people that are running the WSU program, like Mackin and shit, saying, hey, these are the questions that I was going to, write. Do you have, like, what do you want me to ask them? Okay.
Because, it's very tough to make inroads into law enforcement when you're considered an outsider, particularly from academia. And he was not particularly personable. He didn't speak in a fluid or conversational manner. And so I just felt like he would not be able to establish that trust and rapport needed to be an effective researcher in the police department.
Did you know right away that he wasn't going to be a good fit?
No, I mean, I interviewed each candidate. I interviewed 4 for about half an hour each. And it was, a little bit of time that I realized that just his demeanor and his way of conversing, and I just didn't feel he'd be a good fit at the end of the interview.
Okay, now, remember, we're going to go to the part where he tells Payne. Oh, wait, hold on. So let me just back out of this for 1 second. Let's see. There we go. Law and Crimes in interview. Okay, hold on. Let me get to where she brings him on right here. Okay.
First of all, take me back, if you will, to that interview that you did with Bryan Kohberger for the internship, the research assistantship program. Does anything stand out to you from that interview?
You know, there was nothing that was really significant about that interview or that stood out about it. I interviewed 4 people, 2 on one day, 2 on the next, all on Zoom. And I just made an assessment about who would be the best fit for that position and selected someone other than Bryan Kohberger.
Mm-hmm. And there was only one position open.
Correct. Just one position.
And he was applying in his essay, he said, for not only a position possibly for consideration with the city of Pullman, but also with the city of Pasco.
Right. Well, that program is run through the Washington State University.
The right
one who can establish trust and rapport. He wasn't particularly personable. And so I just didn't feel like he would be able to develop that trust.
So maybe he's a little awkward. He's a way of speaking.
Yeah,
my voice described to me that, there's a lot of going back and forth, people from Pullman to Moscow and vice versa, maybe in the probable cause affidavit. But I feel
this was on November 28th. They sent
there
that because it's mentioned in the probable cause affidavit. But I feel like there's a lot of confusion about that because people think, oh, well, they were looking at him that early. But that's really not the case, I don't think, because, they then made that a public Bolo on December 7th.
Right. The Bolo that we got was, I think, identical to the one that eventually went out to the public, but this was on November 28th.
Boom. November 28th. So Andre 2000 has a spreadsheet 1125. You hear that? We got ours on 1120. Listen to what else he says. And this is why Ann Taylor was like,
they sent a Bolo out to the local law enforcement agencies with a vehicle of interest that they labeled as law enforcement sensitive, meaning that we should not share it beyond the law enforcement community. And the description of the vehicle was a white Hyundai Elantra with between the years of 2011 and 2013. And so one of our officers, within 16 hours of receiving that Bolo, was checking our parking database that includes information about vehicles that have parking permits or that pay to park on campus, and found a white Hyundai Elantra that was with Pennsylvania plates registered to Bryan Kohberger.
okay, boom. Now, this is WSU. Pullman, okay, they're two different, okay. So WSU is what Payne put in his probable cause affidavit, okay? But that would be Curtis and Daniel Tanego, Curtis Whitman, Daniel Tanego. But Pullman, that's where Andre 3000 comes from, and his spreadsheet is dated 11/25, and that's that one. And in it is Bryan Kohberger's car with the WS or with the Washington plates, but also is where that fake gold, but really white car. And so also 16 hours, no. They found it on November 29th at 12:30 and 12:50. And he's saying, yep, they found it within 16 hours of when the Bolo went out. Hear that? When the Bolo went out. So then why is Andre 5000 searching for Elantras on the 25th? And this is what Ann Taylor was going to fuck them up with. But I have no idea why this didn't go to trial. But does everybody understand that? Like, you're telling us, everybody, that, yeah, that Bolo for all local law enforcement went out on 16 hours before they found that car. Okay. Payne puts in his affidavit, though, that the Bolo went out on the 25th because Payne knew that that freaking spreadsheet existed. Oh, no one's going to see it, though. No one's going to, like, it's just, blah. Bullshit. Y'all are liars. But then it gets better. It gets better when he keeps on talking.
From, I think back in October, that plate previously, and discovered those two officers had checked the vehicle, as well as a previous traffic stop that one of our officers made on Bryan Kohberger in his vehicle from, I think back in October.
Mm-hmm.
So let's fast forward. When is the next time you hear from Chief Fry
Here we go.
about this investigation?
So I got a text from Chief Fry on December 19th asking if I could meet with him at Moscow Police Department the next morning. And so I went to Moscow PD the next morning and met Chief Fry out in their lobby, and he walked me upstairs, and we went into a room that included their entire investigative team. I think there were maybe 30 or 40 people in that room. And I was the only non-investigative team person in that room. They had held a couple of regional law enforcement briefings before, but this time it was just me. And so as soon as I walked in, I knew that they had something big and that it was somehow related to Washington State University. So they told me that they had developed a suspect based on DNA at the crime scene, and that suspect was a Washington State University graduate student by the name of Bryan Kohberger, who lived on the WSU campus in graduate student housing. And when I heard the name, it's somewhat of an unusual name. It took me a minute, but then I remembered that I had interviewed Bryan Kohberger, and I told the investigative team I had interviewed him previously for that intern position, and I had his resume and cover letter for that position.
Is that right? Oh, you did? Okay. December 27th, 2022. Jake, when you get a chance, can you look to see if I left a hanging folder file in the bottom right drawer of my desk, or of the desk, from my interviews of the fellowship program candidates, ? One of the candidates was Christina, and I don't remember who the other ones were. Thanks, Gary. December 27th. Jake doesn't get back to him because supposedly Jake is on vacation. But Jenkins sends Darby Baldwin, who is a little puss. We'll show you why. Darby, I have not heard back from Jake. I assume he is on vacation. One of the candidates was Kohberger. I just wanted to see if I kept any written notes on my interview with him. That was written on January 2nd, 2023. So here he's saying that when he's brought in, that he's told about this on the 20th, okay, 19th or 20th, whatever, and that let him continue right here. And he's like, I know that name. Oh my God.
That I could provide to them. And then after that, I collected information about his apartment where he lived and his graduate assistant student office that he shared with another PhD student. And in preparation to prepare a search warrant.
November 19th that Chief Fry.
Right here.
Interesting. And so that was back on December 19th that Chief Fry texted you?
Correct.
Good job, Anjanette. Way to get him on that date, baby girl. Love it. Now, Anjanette, all I need you to do is see the research that I've just provided, and because you're the only one that will do it out of mainstream media. Okay, I always say this: if there's a person that will actually be fair and look at both sides and say, okay, yeah, there's something off here, Anjanette, he's lying. He's lying. He's lying on your platform. Okay, he had no idea who Bryan Kohberger was. Okay, if he would have known his name, okay. Also, why wouldn't you just walk your happy ass to Pullman? Okay, go on over there, not write anything in some stupid ass email on December 27th. Okay, you're full of shit, Jenkins.
Okay, because that's the same day the FBI said you guys need to look at this guy. That's when they got the name from the FBI through the genetic genealogy. So I think that's really interesting.
Isn't it, Angela? Yeah.
So when he says this to you and you're standing in the room and, are you kind of floored?
The hair on the back of my neck stood up. It was chilling to hear that he was a suspect, and for one, that he had been living on WSU campus, and that I had interviewed him some months prior.
And I know I'm kind of asking you to speculate a little bit here, but at this point he's a suspect. But the DNA is a pretty damning and overwhelming piece of evidence. It's a strong connection. Plus, you have the white vehicle. As far as circumstantial evidence goes, those are two those are incredible pieces of evidence. So are you thinking to yourself, I'm assuming you spring into.
According to Payne, nobody was told what piece of evidence, and that it wasn't like that. It was just, this is a tip.
Chief mode. I mean, you've got to get to work, but you're saying the hair stood up on the back of your neck and you had interviewed him. Are you thinking, oh my God, we could have hired this guy and he, to be an intern, and he could have been in our department. And maybe this was, maybe even thinking back.
He's like, I don't even fucking remember him.
Now, was this going to be a cover for him to be involved in a police department so he could maybe run around and commit crimes?
Huh?
Well, I mean, that's always possible. It's also possible that this had all been calculated and he was hoping to be in a position to find out about confidential information. And so, yeah, there's lots of possibilities there, but ultimately I definitely was, I was very relieved that I had not hired him.
Sure, of course. So from there, you go back to WSU and you have to get to work because that stuff is going to be
anyone, including my own department. So they had asked me not to share that information with anyone, including my own department. So for me, I was getting information about where he was working on campus and where he lived on campus again, and because I knew that there would be search warrant served at some time. And then ultimately when they kept me in the loop about when they were planning to make the arrest and serve a search warrant at Bryan Kohberger's home in Pennsylvania, we wanted the search warrants to be served pretty much simultaneously, just so there were no issues with potentially someone else that may have been involved or assisting that could circumvent, those warrants. So we ended up serving those warrants on December 30th. We had Idaho State Police come over to assist our staff with those warrants and doing the searches.
So when do you get the call that, okay, we've got him in custody and you can go in and do the search warrant now?
Well, we had a tentative time set up. It was early in the morning of December 30th. And then we got a call that they had made it.
What a bunch of shit. Okay. I've heard enough. I've heard absolutely enough of this shit. Okay. So those guys are just joining. Like, what, Lana, what'd you find? Well, what I found is that he's full of shit. Absolutely shit. Files. December 27th. Jake, when you get a chance, can you look to see if I left a hanging folder file in the bottom right drawer of the desk from my interviews of WSU CJ Fellowship Program candidates? One of the candidates was Christina, and I don't remember who the other ones were. Thanks, Gary. You're not supposed to be telling anybody about this, right? Nobody's supposed to know about anything, right? Wait, but I thought immediately when they told you, you knew who he was, you're going to run right down and get the files and bring them back. Because you give him Payne the files, you go right down to your office and let me go get that stuff. fuck out of here. Dude, this is a absolute PR tour. It's absolute lies. Okay? And if you want to believe it and you want to eat it, awesome, go ahead. I'm just simply showing you, hey, now does this mean that Bryan Kohberger is innocent? No, I'm showing you that people are lying. That's all I'm showing you. I'm showing you that people are lying. So, oh, Lana, why are you showing this? Because I filed the case for 2.5 years and I know it inside and out, or however long it's been, and they're lying. And I'm showing you how it was all being circumvented over here. Payne acting like he doesn't know what Andre 3000 has. Okay, it's sick. The lies. I mean, the guys put away, right? Why would anybody lie about anything? Coffee for Kelly. Woohoo! Thank you. Coffee for Kelly. More for Kelly. More coffee for Kelly? What? Who's Kelly? This is for your gold. Idaho4 production. Woo! $1,999.99. Oh my God, yes. Karen's going to be in the credits as Karen 3000. Karen bought 10 memberships for other people turning green. Boom. Karen, come and swing in. Why don't you become an investigator? You now my mind every day. I think I am an investigator. Investigative journalist over here. A lot of people have benefited from my work. Oh, you mean like get like my license and everything? I enjoy you guys too much. I mean, I thought about it. All these fucking liars. Okay, so there's more. What is it? 52 minutes? Okay, I wanted to keep this right around an hour. Donna Martin graduate. All right. First, I want to open it up. Who has questions about anything that I've presented to say that this doesn't prove anything? This doesn't prove anything. I think that's funny, but go ahead. Okay. The one thing that Pullman I cannot find. I mean, I'll continue to still dig, but I found Andre's spreadsheet, but the Sergeant Ingle spreadsheet have not found an MPD vehicle list and this body camera download. So this right here, if they're trying to say that they're not in possession of it anymore or it's not their record. So I'm going to be asking Pullman about this because you see right here, this 2/16/2023, like zero results. So if Pullman released all this stuff, where is then the rest of the file? There's way more to the file. The files provided contain extensive email correspondence related to the search for Kohberger's name in the PPD email system. There wasn't really extensive spreadsheets, plural, from Officer Love. I got his. But it says, and Sergeant Ingle. Where is Sergeant Ingle's? MPD vehicle list. Where is that? And I want that body camera download. Because the only body camera I was able to download, I had it all already. It was all from October of 2021. It was worthless. And it says, and I showed you guys that. All of these items were burned to a CD and booked into MPD evidence for discovery. Now, again, Ann Taylor's 317 request was not this. Okay, it was the Pullman shit. So what request truly was this one? That says 317. But going back to this and what she wanted everything to do with Payne because she knew she was trying to narrow it down to, and I don't think that Payne should have ever done this request. What she's trying to get to the bottom of is who told Chris Angle and Andre 3000, who communicated with them to the point that they would want and go on 11/25 and making spreadsheets like this. Because it wasn't from the public. This is Pullman. This isn't. So WSU is the bullshit that they put in the probable cause affidavit. That is not even remotely, like, they put that bullshit in, and that's crap. Why couldn't they just put in the Andre 3000? Shit. This is what the mobile chats look like, by the way. Okay. This outs the shit out of this guy. Chats between Darby Baldwin and Jake. All right. This is hilarious. So Darby says, bah, on January 5th. Bah. I need to go pick a kid up from school and run her into quick care. Is it okay if I work the rest of my day from home after I get all of that accomplished? Tired face. Jake says, yes. This is like 4:55, then 4:58. Thank you. Okay. This is who now. Quick care was very slow. Got her back to Moscow. See that? Waited over an hour in the waiting room and another 30 plus minutes in the room. And then the pharmacy was closed for an emergency. Just got home and logged back on. Slow care. It definitely was today. People were napping in the waiting room. Wow. Other than hopefully introducing CJ and Corp and your IA presentation, is there anything to add to Monday's meeting agenda? Did you contact the people for the Citizen Academy yet? I called them, says Darby. I called them, but haven't sent the email yet. I was waiting to hear back from a couple about email addresses. Then he says, what's up? Stephanie. Then Jake says, well, Stephanie wanted to be the person to contact them and wasn't happy with me after Greg told her I was having you do it. Who the fuck is Stephanie? That's interesting. So Stephanie's like, I don't want Darby doing this. Okay. And so I thought this was interesting. Okay. Now remember, Jake is out. Jake's got issues going on right now. Look him up. Darby says, that's interesting. Darby says, I've been the one contacting participants in the past. Jake says, yeah. She reminded me that she asked if she could contact them, and I must have told her yes, but then had you do it, so she wasn't happy with me. I guess I still don't really understand the role she's playing in anything. Then Jake says, can she send the emails? ? She wants to run it. That's fine, says Baldwin. I'll send the roster to her and Greg when I hear back from the last few and get it finalized. Jake says, like she does PAC, I guess. PAC. He says, I already have the whole email drafted. Look at how pissed he sounds. Okay. Darby says, things have definitely changed about how involved she is in everything. But whatever you want to do is fine. I just need to be clear, I guess, on what is and isn't my role. Jake says, okay. Even PAC communications came through me, as I'm the secretary/PD liaison. Jake says, Is Darby a chick? Because that would make way more sense, but whatever. I assume things were the same as they have been, but obviously I don't know, says Jake. Darby says, God, going back, just shotgunning this stuff. Previous to her taking over as chair, I handled pretty much all administrative type stuff related to the PAC. We didn't have anyone running things entirely on that end, as it's a city committee. Like I said, I just need to understand what she's going to be handling and what I'll be doing, because the two seem to be intersecting a lot. I know you guys have been meeting a lot. Ooh. Get those meeting minutes and things, which is all new to me. So just let me know what you want things to look like, and I'll adjust my stuff accordingly. And then sends a meme. This is what gets you in trouble, man. And then sends this meme. What am I doing with my life? Dude, what's going on here? Jake says, okay, we'll figure this out. New to me too. Jake is the chief of police. Smiley face. Jake says, or Baldwin says, I'm sorry, Darby says, people are definitely picking up on the fact, this is on January 6th now, so that was January 5th. So January 6th, people are definitely picking up on the fact that Kohberger applied to be our research fellow. I already forwarded you a couple of media inquiries specific to that. I assume the gag order isn't relevant since it's not part of the criminal case, but I am also seeing buzz about it on social media, FYI. Jake says, this is at 1:21 a.m., 1:26 a.m. Thanks. We were not talking to media, just playing it safe with the gag order. Copy. So is it okay for me to come up with a canned response for those inquiries? I was forwarding it all to the Matt Young. Oh, okay. Baldwin says, I know that there hasn't been at least one records request for his fellowship application. I'm not sure what we have. I assume that was originally emailed to Gary, or how the gag order impacts that, but FYI. Now, hold on. Bear. Gary forwarded this on January 2nd, 10:55 a.m. January 2nd. Darby, I have not heard back from Jake. I assume he is on vacation. One of the candidates was Kohberger. I just wanted to see if I kept any written notes on my interview with him. He still didn't get them. He asks him for these notes on 27th of December. Gary gets fucking ghosted by Jake. Okay. December 27th. He doesn't even know. I don't even remember those other people were. Okay. Then he's like, I'm going to forward these files. I don't even know what he's talking about, because it's on this is saying subject line is files. Does it say files or flyers? Yeah, it says files. Darby, I have not heard back from Jake. I assume he is on vacation. One of the candidates was Kohberger. Yeah. So this guy is so full of shit, Gary. Okay, then we're continuing on over here. So then Darby's over here like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said something, because I think that Darby had a big mouth, but we'll find out. Get to the bottom of this leak. So then Darby says this on the 6th. I know that there has been at least one records request for his fellowship application. I'm not sure what we have. I assume that was originally emailed to Gary, ? Like, what? Yeah, you do. You just talk to Gary. Like, you guys are such little bitches, man. Playing dumb with each other. Yeah, really a lot of trust in this department, I can see. Or how the gag order impacts that. But FYI. We've had several, says Jake. We've had several. And I found his application and essay in email archives and gave it to Sally. Didn't give it to fucking Gary. Fuck you, Gary. Gary, you crazy bitch. Yep. What a trustworthy department here. Everyone's just like, go fuck yourself, Gary. Sorry. Just got to shake that. That's crazy. Darby says, okay, we can still release that. Like Darby is a chick. Makes so much more sense. God, if Darby was a man, it'd be better. Darby is a chick. Yeah, Darbster. Woo! That trustworthy department's looking out. Dude, this is just straight tea. Darby, sexy woman texting good old Jakey Poo at 1:30 in the morning. I don't know what secretary works at 1:30 in the morning. Woo! Jakey Poo. Sorry. Having too much fun over here. Oh, okay. We can still release that. She's like, I gotta get out of this. Gotta get out of this. I gave too much to freaking Howard Bloom and the rest of the gang. Jake says, I sent you Thad's response in an email. Fuck, who's Thad? Thaddeus. I saw it, says Darbs. I saw it. So since it's considered an employment record, they can't have that anyway, if I'm reading that all correctly. Jake says, that's what I read too. Darby, go to bed, bitch. Then, April of 2023, give it up for Batista. She says, Thad, this is Mia Batista, the city attorney for Moscow. Are you able to talk? Thad says, hello. I am not right now. Meetings stacked up this afternoon. I will call you as soon as I have an opening, Mia. This is at 10:40 at night on April 25th, 2023. Then Batista says, okay, I left you a lengthy voicemail, hoping we can visit before you release any records related to Kohberger. Understood. All right. I was hoping we could chat before you release any records about Kohberger. Yeah, what was those chats about? Okay. We got to make sure we cover not whole asses. Why is the city of Moscow attorney messing with Jake over here, or not Thaddeus, Thad O'Sullivan? Don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of that. Don't worry, be happy. Okay, and I'm going to close out this live. I'll be back here. I have 3 lives today scheduled, and this is a Hippler boom. Hippler has filed a new order. Woo, Hippler! Hippler straight flexing on both sides here. I love it. Again, I call it as I see it. Hippler, well done. Hippler says, this is the order regarding your sealed documents that you all want. We're not going to keep this shit sealed, so let me explain how this is going to work. Hippler said, listen up. As part of the process here to review these sealed records, determine which should be unsealed, the court will process the review of those documents from newest to oldest. The court will require the parties to indicate whether they have an objection to unsealing any specific document, and if they believe a document should remain sealed, guess what, guys? You're not just going to put, I object to this, and it's going to happen. Hippler's like, absolutely not. No way. This is how it's going to happen. You must, either side, you must identify why redaction of the materials is not an acceptable avenue. And then in order to address this, you must do it with very detail and specificity. You have to say why the document should be sealed from both a legal and factual standpoint, which, guess what? The state has struggled to be factual, in my opinion. I have yet to find the defense in a lie when they've ever oral argued anything that they've filed. Do I think that they could have made stronger arguments? Yeah, and I'm not even a lawyer. But have I seen a lie? No. Look at these Moscow police reports that are coming out. This is crazy. So he's saying you got to come from a legal standpoint and a factual standpoint, which I'm loving the whole factual. Like, I'm loving it. Fuck your legal arguments. You know why? Because that's like loophole lawyer shit. Okay. Anybody, I could sit here and write something up and know how to like manipulate it and swing it. In fact, I'm doing it right now, and I'm going to win on it because if you know case law, if you know statutes and shit like that, you can do that. But factually comes from a point of like, that's professional codes of conduct. If you know something to be this, that, or the other, you can't go and ethically argue it if you have prior knowledge. I'm sorry, but that is against the codes of professional conduct, your ethics, everything that you fucking under oath do. Simply citing a court rule without more is not sufficient. That's awesome. I love it. I absolutely, you guys have no idea. Like, I just love it. I love it. The response must identify each document by date, name, and number of each document identified in the order for review. I can see them when he's saying like if you're gonna like group documents, because I'll tell you why I see that when I show you what's the first on the chopping block. The parties must file their responses if they're going to. You can either say no objection to it being unsealed or whatever, or if you're going to have an objection to it, and then you're going to state your objection. And you have 14 days. So the clock began yesterday. He filed this yesterday. So 14 days, there's 43 documents that are in the first batch. These documents span from June 2nd, 2025 to July 24th, 2025. So 43 documents. So these filings are going to be, now I made a joke and I'm like, wait, is there filings allowed to be sealed? Like your objection on why you want this sealed? That's just my humor. Like what's going to be up. So these are the first set of the documents that, and he's working back. He's starting at the end of the docket and working. So the most recent document that he's received all the way back, which helps me in my quest because interviewing Cyree, as soon as we get the okay that his shit is unsealed, it's go time. Okay. And if we were going the opposite way, we'd have to wait a little longer. So 7/24/2025 states exhibit. Like I'm going to show you which ones are important. When you go to page 2, the state's response to the defendant's 24th supplemental request. The only reason I have any interest in that is because I want to know what the 24th request was. The sheriff's return concerning witness KSF, that's going to be a Pennsylvania thing. The guilty plea advisory form that defendant filled out, mainstream media is going to be like this over that one. Okay. That's the one that they want. Okay. They're going to jizz. I don't even care about that. Okay. Because that's just, I care about the investigation. But mainstream media, gonna jizz on that one. Right here, number 9. Order on defendant's offer of proof. So that's unredacted. Remember how we got everything and it was redacted like heavily, like, woo. He's saying this is up and it's about it being unredacted, which means third-party culprits. And why the defense is saying they were third-party culprits. So, boom, number 9. To me, yes. Number 10, Exhibit W to defendants, 24 supplemental request for discovery. That's going to go with this one because that's their response. I want to know what Ann Taylor was still seeking on 6/25/2025, which is literally days before the agreement to do a plea deal. So I'm very interested in that. Yes. Do I want to know the state's amended notice of compliance and motion to seal state's amended witness list? Yeah. I want to know who was the state planning on calling to the stand? What's their witness list? Unseal that shit. Number 12. And when Hippler's saying things like, you're going to have to give me some reasons as to why this just can't be redacted in the form of like, okay, with the witness list, initials, but they even have to make that showing. So the court's minutes for the closed session, that means we're talking transcripts. Number 12, transcripts. The part that we didn't get to see about the alternate perpetrators, yeah, I care about that. Again, these are Exhibit S, S1A, S1. These are to the state's supplemental response to request for discovery. One of them is expert testimony. Actually, I think all three are. Yeah, I mean, let me see it, but there's nothing going to be like about the investigation in that. Sheriff's return concerning that witness. Again, I think that's Pennsylvania. Defendant's reply in support of motion for access. Curious about that. I want to know what exactly access. Defendant's reply to state's objection to defendant's offer of proof. Remember the offer of proof for the alternative perpetrators? I just love the written work, so I want to read it. And then it's the alternate perpetrator and defendant's evidence and support. So what's the evidence? What were the exhibits? What were they using for their offer of proof, right? Number 20 is the state's motion to amend witness list and supplement expert disclosures. Dude, on 6/12/2025, you are trying to supplement expert disclosures. Do you know how long ago that had to be in? This is the shit that Ann Taylor is talking about, and any lawyer should be talking about is what's going on here? How is the state supplementing its expert disclosures? No, if it's not in and it wasn't disclosed, like it's out. I want to know how he ruled on that. Notice of the filing. This is the sealed defendant's amended exhibit chart. Of course, I want to see the defendant's exhibit chart. Remember, they had to pass back and forth they had to have their trial exhibits all like organized and ready to go. Like, yeah. Then when you turn to the page, you're going to start here on number 22, and it says order sealing state's response to defendant's motion, special investigation. Of course you want to know about that. This has to do with the leak. That's on 6/12. And also on 6/12 was the order sealing defendant's motion for access and objection to court's order. Next is the motion to seal state's response to defendant's motion for the special investigation. We want to know all about the special investigation, right? That's the whole leak. State's number 25 here, state's response to defendant's motion. So their motion about the special investigation, of course, we want to know their response to the defense's motion. The defendant's motion for access and fair investigation. So this is what it started on. And then everything that I just read, defendant's motion for access. And I want to know what that access was about. Like specifically what, we could all guess, but let's just get it, Defendant's objection to release of privileged and confidential work product. Again, very, very interested. So what work product, did this, it's the only thing I can think of, that if we've done work, if I'm on the defense team and we've done work to try to narrow down who this leak was, because we're incorporating it into our trial strategy with witnesses that the state may be calling, that's work product. And that's trial strategy, and we can't release that shit. So that's something that I can think of. But we'll find out. The witness list, defendant's second amended phase 2. Again, I don't care about the mitigating shit. Sorry. But yeah, that's part of it. The order saying order sealing defendant's motion and motion, or an order for emergency order. Okay. 32 I care about. Order conditionally denying admission of additional exhibits as evidence at trial. Who wanted these additional exhibits? So order granting defense expert analysis of evidence. Don't you want to know what they wanted to? It was granted for the defense for an expert to the analysis of evidence. So I'm curious. The state's response is defendant's motion for independent analysis of evidence. So if you go and take these dates, and then you look at maybe the Moscow Police Department reports, and you can kind of compare those dates to like what was going on, which I'm in the process of doing right now. When these come out, I'm going to be putting next to them what MPD reports go and coincide with around that date and see what they were doing. We want to know what is this emergency order about, right? That's the motion for the independent out. So that's going to be what the defense is like here, what we're saying, why we want it. Stipulated motion to the admission of additional exhibits as evidence at trial. Now, this was a stipulated motion. Okay. So they stipulated, both sides stipulated to something, but then look at order conditionally denying admission. So Hippler, even over their stipulation, he denied it. So I'm curious that usually when attorneys are stipulating something, he's conditionally denying admission of additional exhibits. So I want to know what that's about. State's objection to defendant's offer of proof. Order granting access to sealed. Yeah, sealed records. What is this? Order granting access to sealed records. Grand jury. I mean, I was told that they didn't have the grand jury information. When I say like I was told that, the reports told me that. And then last but not least, the number 42 and 43 is Exhibit S1 to state's response to defendant's 23rd supplemental request, and Exhibit V to defendant's 23rd supplemental request. And what these exhibits are going to be is the list of when she's writing number 1 and whatever she's asking for. Dude, I want all of those. We're going to know exactly where Ann Taylor was headed with when we get to put her discovery supplementals together, and she has all of these listed and the way that she's attacking it. And also we're going to be able to look at the Moscow Police Department's how they were disclosing things. And if Ann Taylor's asking for something, right? We got all of MPD's written reports all at once on whatever day it was last week. Boom, here you go. That's not how Ann Taylor got it, right? Because looking at those reports, there are some that aren't written up until when. And when you look at those dates, though, there's dates that are like 6, 7, 8 months after the date that something was done, like that they're reporting on. So, we've had the luxury of having it all at once, kind of like a Netflix series when it drops, and you get, boom, there's all 12 episodes, and you can just binge away, right? Ann Taylor and her team did not have that luxury. Okay, they didn't just get to binge on everything. Ann Taylor's team, from day one, had to continue to, first of all, they were provided, it's like a game almost. Think about, I could make a puzzle game out of the discovery and say, here guys, here's the first 10 reports. Now your teams, you guys are all divided up into teams, team A, team B, team C, team D. Okay. It's 5 on a team. And you have to formulate questions as far as requests to the game master. And then you're getting then based off of what you're requesting is what you're going to be then fed. So think about that. Not only do you not get to watch the Netflix for 12 binging 13 episodes, you have to figure out what you think's coming next or what you think should be there and to request it to be able to watch it. Okay. Like what? This is like choose your own adventure, man. You know? So 43 docs a month is going to take a couple years to get them all out. Yeah. I think it'll speed up because based, I think, on the responses, if they don't take all 14 days and responses are quick, or if they just all say, you know what, release it all. Okay. You know what I mean? Or Hippler could come back and say, well, I need to look over these but yeah, at that, I was asking myself why he stopped at number 43, why I didn't just go to like 50, but I think he's keeping it in certain months, but So, anyways, I'll be starting a series where we're playing the game from here. This is what the defense had, and look at. And I just want the number one question I have is why no preliminary hearing? They didn't have anything ready to go. So remember the first discovery request and when Ann Taylor got that dump, I just want to know what all entailed that first dump. So, all right, I'll be back. Thank you guys so much. Share it, like it, or don't like it, but just don't be a fence rider. Have an opinion. Make yourself known in the comment section of the video. Tell me what you think, and can you freaking believe it? But we are on the hunt for a white Elantra again. Okay, we are on the hunt for a 2015 white Elantra. Love lied, said it was gold. It was not. It was white. And it was located at Palouse Trace Apartments. No front or back plates. 11/25/2022. But then by December of 2022, after 12/7, it had plates and was out of Boise/Troy and originated out of Oklahoma, where it was manufactured. Never Colorado. Okay. Spread it. Spread it far and wide. See you soon. Peace out. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, supporters. Oh, and if you feel compelled, if you feel like this is compelling, I am trying to make a Idaho4 independent film to put it in the Slam Dance Film Festival in March of 2026. They take and accept any genres and any type of, if it's like a documentary, if it's a mini series. And my working title is The Untold Timeline of the University of Idaho Murders. So if you want to help a sister out, thank you. It's all for you guys.